Alrighty, welcome back to Final Fantathon, our quest to casually let's play every single mainline Final Fantasy game and some bonuses. It is so great to have you all back. So great to have everyone here on Twitch. It's been an amazing morning. Holy cow, we've been talking about the new WB Smash game. Been talking about all sorts of fun stuff this morning. We got Jake the dog here as our special guest to celebrate WB's Smash game. Just a message out to WB. Samurai Jack, Meatwad, Dexter from Dexter's Laboratory, and Bugs Bunny Final Smash better be Big Chungus. Those are my 4 requirements. If those things happen, then I'm buying the game. Welcome back to Final Fantasy VIII. It's been a blast playing through, and it's been a blast reading everyone's comments about the space scene and like everything that's happened up to this point. Everyone's interactions with the special dungeon, the Ultima dungeon. It was awesome to read everyone's comments, so thank you. And now we're heading towards the end here. We're heading towards the finale. I had a quick clip. Let me see if I can pull it up. This was in episode 27. Somebody pointed this out. I think we noticed this during the remaster, quote unquote remaster playthrough, but I missed it during our playthrough here for Fantathon. Yeah, I'm just gonna let you watch it. Pay attention to our boy's head here. The models in this game are just not good. They are just not. They're not good. There's so many like great examples like that in this game, but that's a classic. We can't miss that one. Crack. All right, let's go do the thing. So can I ask you guys? Can I ask you guys a question without sounding rude? Right, if I sound rude, that's fine, I guess. It happens. Why are so many people asking me if I'm gonna fight Omega Weapon? Have we not fought every super boss for the past 7 games in the past year? And have I not said over and over again that I'm doing all the super bosses in all the games? Technically, we didn't do the Final Fantasy VIII Super Boss because I literally couldn't. Well, see, yeah, that's part of the problem, though. I think that's why people are asking, because I didn't get Leviathan, and you can't beat Omega without Leviathan. That is true. That is true. We can't fight Penance because we're playing the original NA version, and then the original NA version doesn't have Penance. I have to stop making the Leviathan joke because I've started to get comments of people that are like, wait, did he not get Leviathan? Why didn't he get Leviathan? Bad gamer. I don't know. I usually ignore comments like that because those comments are from people that like watch random episodes and then wonder why they don't get the jokes. That happens so often. I mean, like, the first couple episodes of Final Fantasy VIII were just full of people like, what's this TBN joke? What's the TBN joke? I don't understand the TBN joke. And like episode 2, I explain it. So how did you watch episode 1 and then episode 4? Like, why did you skip episodes? They're like those people at work that like ask you to, like if there's some big show going on, like Game of Thrones or something, they constantly bug you about the episode last night, and they're like, I didn't see the episode last night, can you catch me up? I watched episodes 1, 4, and 8, so I don't know why this character died. And you're like, why? Just watch the episodes in order, and then come to the water cooler and talk about it. I don't want to catch you up. YouTube often recommends the episodes out of order. Okay. How is that in their defense? Don't follow YouTube's recommendation? Go to the Fantathon page, my website, my channel, the video playlist, Google the episode number you need next. Like, there's a million different ways to go from episode 1 to episode 2. Like, they just click on episode 1, and then whichever one gets recommended, they're just like, I have to watch that one next. YouTube says that's the next one. I don't know how to count. Just have to do that one, I guess. I don't know. But no, like, this is my point, though. If you want to watch the episodes out of order, that's totally fine. That's totally on you. But then don't ask questions like that. That's my point. Like, of course you're not going to get the jokes. You watched episodes 1, 9, and 53. Like, of course you're not going to get it. Why are you asking me? Like, that you can watch them in any order you want. That's fine. I mean, most people watch episode 1 and then nothing else. That's fine. A lot of people watch episode 1 and then the final episode. That's like the biggest. Episode 1 gets the most views, and then the last episode gets the second most views. That's fine. But then don't ask questions like, hey, what, did you get Leviathan? Watch the episode of Leviathan. You know? Like, don't ask me questions about inside jokes when you don't watch the series. I'm not gonna like... And then they expect me to like drop what I'm doing and reply to every single comment with a big description of the inside joke, which, by the way, ruins the inside joke, so I'm not going to do that. That's the whole point of an inside joke, is to not explain it. Oh. Random dead person. Hate to see it. I love this song. Who's this Craig guy? See, now, the Craig thing, I think I explained that to a couple different people, because the Craig thing happened, like, in Final Fantasy II, and not everyone watched Final Fantasy II, because not everyone's interested in Final Fantasy II. And I don't expect everyone to watch the entirety of Fantathon, because that's quite long. So that I understand. But, like, the TBN joke was literally explained in this playthrough. So, like, what are we doing out here? Bum, 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 bum. Yeah, I've explained it, like, in a lot of episodes, too, so... Yeah, I mean, I'm all for questions, and I love answering any question I can, but I just... Like, it kind of ruins the inside joke, right? To explain it over and over. Had to be there, man. Had to be there. Why is sleep so good in this game? Holy cow. Just makes every fight free. Not that it's already not free, but... Stock more holy. I don't have any holy. Should you stock Holy? I don't know if Holy's any good for junctioning. It does damage. What are you dispelling? They just turned off their ears. That does happen a lot. I believe Dissidia was on the vote, but no one voted for it. I don't remember if I added the fighting games, though, since they're kind of a weird playthrough. Yeah, it can be hard sometimes, like, with questions, because I try to answer everyone's questions the best I can. And, like, you have to think, everyone that's asking a question could potentially be a brand new person that knows nothing, and so you don't want to just be like, you should know by now. Like, this could be their first stream, right? So I try to answer, like, all the Twitch questions. YouTube questions, though, it's like, if you're watching episode 50 and it happened in episode 2, then I'm not gonna, you know. But yeah, like, Twitch questions, I try to just answer all of them because, you never know. I actually got an email from someone the other day that was saying, like, thanks for answering questions because you answer the same questions like 20 times in a day, and it's really nice that you do that. You like it? I was thinking, you're right, like, it's good that we do that and we don't just, you know, like, some things have a command, but for the most part, I just answer, even if I've just answered it 10 seconds ago. Because you never know when someone pops in. My struggle, though, you know, like we were talking about this on Monday, there was that guy that was trolling. He said, he kept asking me about Celeste, and he had never played Celeste. It was like, how do you do this? How do you do that? How do you do this? How do you do that? And I answered like some of his questions. And then I was like, in order to answer any further, you're gonna have to just like play the game. I can't play the game for you. Like, just play the game. I can't, you know. And then he kept asking, and I was like, can you please stop asking questions about Celeste? Either play the game or like DM me or something. But I'm not here to just answer every single little how do you jump, how do you dash question about Celeste. And then he kept asking and kept asking, so at that point he was trolling, because I had asked him nicely to stop, and he kept asking. But it opens up this really, like, frustrating thing as a streamer, because you have this guy in your chat who's constantly asking questions, and everyone else that's watching just thinks that I'm being a jerk and not answering the questions. You know what I mean? Like, this guy is like, hey, how do you do that jump? Hey, how do you do this dash? Hey, this, hey, that. And I'm just ignoring him. And so when new people come in, they're like, wow, this guy doesn't even answer his questions in chat. But the guy's, like, obviously trolling, and anyone that's been here for a while knows. But then I also can't, like, ban him, because he's not really, like... I mean, if it had gotten any worse, I probably would have just, like, timed him out and said, go take a break. But it hadn't gotten to that point yet, so I didn't want to, like, kick him out. But at the same time, it was like, you know, I started to ignore him, hoping that he would just stop asking questions so we could just move on. But then everyone that's joining the stream is like, wow, this guy doesn't even answer questions. So it's this, like, really awkward position where it's like, I want... And then, like, Dot answered his question. And I was like, don't answer his question. Like, he's trolling. And then it put Dot in a weird position, because he's like, I was just trying to be nice, and now I'm like feeding the troll. So it's just a really awkward position sometimes when people are doing stuff like that. And then like the Leviathan thing, like it's a joke. People say like, did you draw Leviathan? And it's an obvious joke in the stream, but then people joining the stream are like, what are they talking about? Leviathan isn't even in this fight. And then you get people asking questions, like real questions, like, did you not draw Leviathan? And then if I answer it, it's like ruining the joke. It's just, sometimes it gets awkward. How's it going, Den? How's it going, Mortar? This might be the final day of Final Fantasy VIII. Dot accidentally fed the animals at the zoo. Don't feed the animals. Yo, livestream, thank you so much for the gifted sub to Crow and Sergeant Deagle. And Hitman, thank you for your 33 months. And livestream, thank you for the gifted sub to Mortar as well. Welcome, everyone. I know we're supposed to go. President is waiting. Where is he waiting? I don't remember where he's waiting. Is it the next room? Maybe the next room. Yeah, I don't know. Like, yeah, this one. If we rush, we can finish today, or we could go slow and maybe do like Shumi Village and make it not finish today. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. I'm just gonna play naturally. And we might also finish D-Make today, too. Ward. Kyros. And that's probably... You're not dressed for the occasion. This is such a weird scene. I really want to try to, like, pay attention to this scene because I never really understood it before. My god, there's so much stuff that Squall says that is so quotable. What is up with this country? That's so quotable. Oh, sure. Hey there! Been wanting to meet you guys. You guys are the ones who were inside my head, right? Alone told me. It was like there was some kind of waves running through my head. They gave us so much power during battle. We thought there were some kind of fairies flying over us. So, like, I don't understand the gives them, like, power in battle. How did they even survive without us then? We always jumped in, like, mid-scene. You know? So, like, how did they survive before and after we jumped in? If they just had, like, no junction, and they were just walking around with weapons, and they were fighting, like, a bunch of guards, and Laguna was protecting the entire town from monsters before and after we jumped in. Because plot. So I'm Laguna, President Laguna, Loire of Esther. Pleased to meet you. If we weren't in a state of emergency, I'd talk to you some more, but, well, whatever, let's talk. Okay. What do you want to know? You'll never get going if President Laguna keeps talking. So why don't you guys throw out some questions and he'll try to answer them. Man, you look way too serious. Whatever. There's the patented Squall whatever. What are you doing here? You know what I've been doing all my life, right? You were a silly Galbadian soldier. I didn't like your attitude at all, but I understood the bond between the three of you. Then you changed after you went to Windhill. Then Alone was abducted by Esther and you went on a journey. A journey to get Alone back. You wrote articles and appeared in movies to get by. You were trying to find a way into Esther. You somehow got into Esther and rescued Alone. I got a lot of help along the way. What I don't understand is, why are you the president? Didn't he win the uprising? Want to know? It's a long story. You want to hear it? Really? Okay, I'll tell you. I only set out to rescue Alone, but of course that wasn't the end of the story. Is a country ruled by sorceress Adele with the ingenious yet inhumane Odine. Both of them were interested in Alone. We couldn't just back up and leave. He was the leader of the uprising, right? Is that how he became president? Adele will be angry. My research will be kaput. Odine only thought about his research. Look how Alone is just plopped there. What's going on? But while researching under Adele's orders, he was still making many inventions. It was a device to seal magic. Sealing facility. Maybe Adele can be defeated. I owed a big favor to the Adele Resistance who helped me at Rescue Alone. I spoke with my comrades. 2 issues came up. First, stopping the Crystal Pillar from calling monsters from the moon and destroying everything like what happened in Centra. Second, freeing Esther from Adele's hands. We planned and planned, based on my brilliant ideas, of course. The guy who had trouble asking a girl out is now president of the most advanced country. Way more character development than Squall. We're back in the Lunatic Pandora Research Facility. There's only one goal. They said there's 2. Well, there's 2 problems. 2 problems, 1 goal. How's it going, General? Following Odine's instructions, we operated the panel and moved the crystal pillar. We set the course and the stop point in the ocean and... goodbye. Whoa! That was easy, but we were found out. So we gathered for a final battle to lure Adele. How did they even... How did they win this? Adele appeared as we expected. What the heck? Looked like Adele just died for a second. What is going on? We hunted down the culprit who moved the crystal pillar. Where? Inside there, Alone's been taken hostage. I knew she would go in right away if I mentioned Alone. This is really how they won. He's in there, officer! You thought I would fall for that trick? Adele realized that Alone was a hologram, but it was too late. Yeah, of course. My plans are always... perfect! Kiros Ward now! Ha ha ha! Piece of cake! Adele was careless. She may be a sorceress, but after all, she was human. We succeeded, but we couldn't keep such a dangerous sorceress around as a trophy. So we put her on the moon! We had to do something, so we decided to send her far, far away. With a goofy run, someplace very far, into outer space. And that's how the ship got up there. do you even program something like that? Very carefully. And that about wraps that part up, but the real work began after that. A fierce debate ensued about who should govern this country after Adele was gone. I wasn't paying close attention while they made me up to be this hero of the revolution. I ended up being president. Odine made a lot of noise about wanting to do research on Alone. It was a mistake to send Alone back to Rain. Rain died and Elle was sent to the orphanage. If I had only gone to Windhill with Elle, I would have been able to see Rain one last time. Rain was dead, Alone missing, my job kept me busy. I was left here thinking about this and that, and before I knew it, all this time had passed. Well, that's about it. So, like, a couple things about this. For one, I feel like the ending of Laguna's story is, like, super lame. Like, we build up this whole thing with him and Rain and Alone. And that's like all of the flashbacks up to this point were all setting that up. And then in the end, he just becomes president and his job is too busy. And Rain dies and Alone is captured with him just being here being president. You know what I mean? Like, all that builds up to what? He just gets a really busy job and that, you know? So, I feel like that's kind of anticlimactic, but like, Laguna isn't the main character, so it's fine for him to have an anticlimactic end. But what is the point of all the flashbacks to build all that up if the ending is just nothing, basically? You know what I mean? So let me throw this at you because I'm curious as to what you think of this. I just thought of this. What if the flashbacks, instead of building up Laguna's story, which I like Laguna's story up to this point, so I'm not saying that that was all bad, but what if instead of building up Laguna's story just for it to kind of fall off at the end, what if instead the flashbacks were pretty much everything he just told us? Like, what if the flashbacks were building up Esther's story, building up Adele's story, and then it all built up to the moment where Laguna, Kiros, and Ward capture Adele. And then, when you go out to space and you release Adele, you actually understand the ramifications of that. Because when it happens, you don't really understand what you're doing. You're just like, oh, it's this really spooky sorceress and we let her go. But like, if all of those flashbacks were building up, and you could like build up Adele as this horrible sorceress, you could have all these scenes where Adele is like brutally murdering people and throwing people in prison and doing all these nasty, awful things. And she's interested in Alone, so there could be some like scenes with Alone, and she could be mistreating Alone, and then you're like, oh my god, I hate Adele so much because I love Alone. And then they trap her. And then, when you go up to space, and Renoa releases Adele, you could have all these emotions of like, that's that sorceress that was mean to Alone and killed all those people, and now we're letting her out. Like, this is the worst thing ever. Like, there'd be so much more emotion in that scene, instead of just like one of the scientists just being like, yeah, Adele's really bad. You know what I mean? And it sucks to think that, like, because I like the Laguna flashbacks, I do, but I just feel like they're misguided. If it would have been more Laguna in Esther and seeing Adele doing terrible things, and then you get to see that scene where they capture her and you're like, yes, and then right after, like, I'm imagining the flashback where Laguna captures Adele could be right before the space journey. You know what I mean? Like, right before they take off, you could have the scene where they capture Adele, and then you watch them shoot off into space, and you're like, oh no. Like, you can start to oh no, I know where this is going, you know? So you could, instead, like, the whole space thing just feels so out of left field, and then later it's explained. But I want to feel that emotion in the moment. I want to see Squall and Renoa shoot up to space and think like, oh my god, somehow this is going to involve Adele. I don't know how, but something's going to happen. And then when Renoa gets taken over, you're like, oh my god, that's Adele taking her over, and she's going to release her, and oh my god. And Alone is there also, so it would be extra crazy because Alone would be there, and she'd be watching Renoa release Adele, who gave her so much heartache in the past, and she'd be like, oh no. Like, it could be great. I think a lot of Laguna's story would have to be rewritten, and like all the stuff with him and Rain and everything would have to be different. But maybe instead of Rain just dying for no reason because Laguna is working, instead Adele kills Rain. What? What if that happened? And then this is why, because right now Laguna's just like, yeah, we should probably like stop Adele, she's evil. But instead, Laguna would be like, Squall, you have to stop Adele. She killed Rain and now it's on you to stop her. Like, he could be way more involved in this conversation instead of just like, yes, this is what happened. You know? There would be like a better connection. And there could even be a connection with Squall and Rain, you know? It would give Squall and oh man, now I'm just coming up with all these crazy theories. So what if you gave Squall a bit more of like a I don't have a father figure or a mother figure, and that's why I'm so whatever, you know? Like, that's why I'm so introverted, because I never had like a father-mother figure, and I'm really inclusive and stuff. And then he learns about Rain, his mother, and then as soon as he learns about her, he finds out that Adele killed her. And so now he has a fire instead of being like, yeah, whatever, we'll go stop her. Like, now he has a fire, and this could be the moment where Squall finally like releases, you know what I mean? Because one of my biggest problems is that he never does really, he kind of does, but not really. I want to see like that switch. So like the whole game, he's super inclusive and just like, whatever, I don't care, like, stuff sucks, whatever. And then in this moment, he's still like, whatever, I don't care. And then Laguna like shakes him and he's like, Squall, Adele killed your mother. We have to stop her. And then he finally gets that fire and he like, that switch goes off and he's like, let's do it. And then like for the rest of the game, he's like a different character. And you know, you could still make him like, you know, did I say inclusive? I meant reclusive. You could still make him like have the same personality and stuff, but you could give him this like lit fire, and Renoa could say stuff like, wow, you really changed. Like, yeah, like he could be angry and like release his emotions finally. When you go from here until you fight Adele, like, you can have this character change. Yeah, exactly. Instead of whatever, period, it's whatever, exclamation mark. I feel like that would have been so much better. And there's definitely like some plot things that would have to change, but I would rather be in the trope of you killed my mom, so I hate you, than whatever the heck trope we're in now. It wouldn't even be a trope. It would be like so perfect, because that's what his whole character is leading up to. He needs this like fire that like gives him the motivation. Yeah, I mean, that's not even a trope, but I know what you're saying. Like, it is kind of a basic thing, but it wouldn't be basic if they did it right. If they did it to the point where like you don't really know why Squall is like this. And then right here, it's revealed to you. And then Squall could start to, like, go even further into his darkness. Like, maybe when the conversation starts, Laguna is like, Adele killed your mother, and we have to stop her, and she's crazy, and she got out, and now we got to stop her. And Squall just gets even more, like, turned down. Like, he turns off completely. He's like, now I can't even ever see my mother. Like, I just finally realized who my mother is, and she's dead. Like, he becomes even more, like, and then Laguna, like, snaps him out of it. And then, you know, he changes, right? Like, there could be this whole thing with him and Laguna. And then all the flashbacks with Laguna would make so much more sense. You could even have moments where Laguna helps other people in the past and then connect it to when he helps Squall. There's so many great, like, little interactions you could have. That's it. I'm making Final Fantasy VIII 2, and I'm gonna do my own story. Do my own version of the story. Let me out of this room. Rain's story, some other time maybe. No, I can't. It's too much for me to remember. Yeah, instead we just get that. Great. That's director's cut. I'm not saying it would be perfect, and there'd be some changes that would have to be made, but I just think, personally, that would make this so much more real, and it would have made the space scene so much better. Because the reason the space scene is great is because of Squall and Rinoa. It's not because of Rinoa and Adele. But could you imagine if the whole Rinoa alone Adele thing was one part of the emotion, and then the Squall Rinoa thing came in and was the second part? That would elevate that scene from just a really memorable scene with Squall and Rinoa to, like, one of the best scenes in the series. If you had these two big emotion drops next to each other at the same time in space with the really crazy Final Fantasy VIII cutscenes that for the time were really good looking. Even now they still look good. And the music, like, could you imagine? That could be like Temple of the Ancients level scene. If you did all of that perfectly, and you really had this connection to, like, I do not want Adele to get out. She hurt alone, and she hurt all those people. And then Rinoa, this character that a lot of people like Rinoa. Like, a lot of people, Rinoa is probably, like, top 3 favorite character in this game. Then you see Rinoa release Adele, and you're like, Rinoa, no! And then you get the moment with Squall and Rinoa, which is good even if you don't like the characters. Like, I don't love the characters in this game. I still think that scene is really good just because of the way they portrayed Rinoa in the darkness. I read a comment. I read a comment from someone that was saying, like, the space scene is so cool because the whole beginning of the game, Squall is alone and Rinoa is trying to pull him out of his loneliness. And then the space scene reverses those. And now Rinoa is alone and Squall is trying to go be with her. And so that's why that part is so impactful, because you're used to Squall being alone and then suddenly Rinoa is alone. I was like, yeah, you're right. Like, I didn't really think about it that way, but that's a really good point. So imagine all of that together, but then also, like, the part before that is elevated. And then you get the Eyes on Me afterwards. Could have been so good. And then literally anything else instead of what they did after that. Anything else. I don't care what it is. Just not the goofy Ragnarok scene with the stupid bosses and goofy music. Just literally anything else. I don't care what it is. It could be they go back to the garden and get hot dogs. I don't care. Just anything, because that was the worst transition. The worst transition ever. Just anything else. I don't care. They sit and play cards in space. I don't care. Just anything. Because that part was so stupid. What the heck has he done with his life, don't you wonder? When Alone was about 2, there was a massive hunt for girls in Esther. Esther's soldiers came to Windhill and Elle's parents resisted. They were killed on the spot. The massive hunt was to find the successor for Esther's ruler, Sorceress Adele. Alone was raised by Rain, who lived next door, and I came to know her. Then there was another massive hunt for a successor in Esther again. Elle was taken away even though I was there. It's the most painful episode of my life. So I rescued her and sent her off to Windhill. Shortly after that, Rain died, and Alone was sent straight to an orphanage. Why didn't you go back to Windhill with her? I wanted to, but I had my reasons. I found out about this afterward, but the reason why Alone had to leave the orphanage was because of her special power. Doc Odine wanted to do research on Alone's special power. He looked for her everywhere. The owners of the orphanage were Sid Kramer and his wife Adia. You know them better than I do. The Kramers took Elle out of the orphanage to protect her. They prepared a big ship to accommodate her. Gracious of them, huh? After a while, the ship turned into another orphanage and Elle looked after all the kids. She said her life on the ship was a happy one, but who knows? I don't know how she could have been happy on that ship. She was on the ship for over 10 years. That ship was attacked by Galbadia recently. Esther's ship rescued them, and she finally met up with me. It was pure luck that I found her. That we found her. I was out in space at that time. Alone followed me out to space. That is a weird sentence. I was out in space at that time. Alone followed me out to space. Okay. Little Elle was all grown up. Then she told me everything. Did she get back safely from space? Our escape pod rescue team was a little late. Alone was taken into custody by Galbadia. She's inside Lunatic Pandora. We're gonna rescue her. Help us out, okay? Phew! Straight to the heart of the matter, just like a workaholic seed. Is it my turn? Yeah, make it short and easy to understand. I will talk however I want. Dig. Sorceress Adia told me everything. Sorceress Ultimisia comes from the future to possess the sorceress of present day, meaning she leaves her body in the future and sends only her consciousness here. Does that sound familiar to you? It's like when Alone sent our consciousness back to the past. You're a smart one! My first guess was that someone in the future with an ability like Alone was sending the sorceress back here to our time. But no, that is not the answer. So how does the sorceress come back to this time? You want to hear how? Did he sneeze? I kept this a secret to surprise you. It is because of me, Odine. I researched Alone's power long ago. I made out the pattern from the electric current running through Alone's brain. Once the pattern was determined, it was easy to mechanize. It may only be a toy right now, but in the time of Ultimisia, it is an impressive working machine. Which means there is a machine which imitates Alone's power. It is I who made the first model of that machine. I named the machine Junction Machine Alone. That's a stupid name. It is a wonderful thing to know that my invention is used in the future. Junction Machine Alone. That's about it. So Sorceress Ultimisia came to know about Alone from that machine, and Elle became Ultimisia's target. You can't blame Odine, it's useless. You want to go outside? You want to fisticuffs? Okay, we continue the story. Let's see. There is only one way to defeat Ultimisia. You must kill her in the future. There is nothing we can do unless we go to the future. There is no way to jump to the future under normal circumstances. But there is still a way. It is because Sorceress Ultimisia plans to compress time. Compressing time with magic. What good will it do for the sorceress to compress time? There may be many reasons, but it doesn't matter. Let's just figure out what Ultimisia is up to. In order for Ultimisia to exist in this time, she must take over the body of a sorceress from the present. But the machine must have a limit. Ultimisia probably needs to go back further in time to achieve time compression. Only alone can take her back further in the past. That is why she is desperately seeking her. We must take advantage of Alone's power. There are two sorceresses in our time, Sorceress Renoa and Sorceress Adele. Of the two, Adele has not awakened yet. Once regeneration is completed, neither Laguna nor I will be safe. Sorceress Adele is probably in the process of awakening inside Lunatic Pandora. Ultimecia will want to possess Adele if Adele wakes up. That would be a horrible event. Adele is a horrible sorceress. Yeah, thanks for telling us instead of showing it. If Adele's consciousness wins over Ultimecia, Adele will first destroy this era. So we must use Sorceress Renoa to inherit Ultimecia's powers. That all for the mission briefing. First, go to Lunatic Pandora. Alone's probably being held captive inside, so rescue her first. Then kill Sorceress Adele before the awakening process is completed. Now we're left with Renoa as the only sorceress of this era. Then wait for Ultimecia to possess Renoa. When Ultimecia arrives, it's Alone's turn. Alone will send Renoa back in the past with Ultimecia. Alone will have to send Renoa and Ultimecia inside another sorceress she knows in the past. Adia or Adele, that's up to Alone. Once Ultimecia is in the past, she'll use the time compression magic. We will see some influence here. I don't know what kind of influence, but once Alone feels it, she'll cut Renoa and Ultimecia off from the past. Renoa will come back to this world. Ultimecia also goes back to her own world. What would be left is the time-compressed world. Past, present, and future will be all mixed together. You will keep moving through the time compression towards the future. Once you're out of the time compression, that will be Ultimecia's world. It's all up to you after that. Did you guys get all that? Now, can I ask a perfectly normal question here? Would it not have been better to do my whole thing, where the whole game builds up to Adele being this super evil sorceress, and at the very end, Laguna traps Adele in space, and then you release Adele from space, and then Adele is just the evil sorceress we have to go kill? Like, clear all the Ultimecia stuff, all the time compression stuff. Renoa releases Adele, and Adele is just Sephiroth 2.0, and we just have to go kill her. Would that not be just infinitely better? Like, if you need... If the reason they implemented Ultimecia is because they didn't feel like Adele was a good enough villain, like she wasn't scary enough to be the final boss, that's because she isn't. You needed to build her up more. But more than that, like, okay, let's say Adele does all this horrible stuff, but she's still not, like, scary enough to be a final boss. Well then, just come up with something like, when Renoa released her, she absorbed the power of the moon or something. Like, that tier that releases all the monsters from the moon. Because she was up there for so long, she, like, absorbed all that power. So then when she got released, she's, like, Super Saiyan 5. Can't we just do that? What? Why do we need Ultimecia? It would have been so much better if all the Laguna cutscenes built up Adele as super evil, and then when Renoa releases her, she just becomes Super Saiyan Adele, and then Super Saiyan Adele is the final boss. And you have a connection with her because you released her, for one. For two, she was evil and you saw all of her evil. And three, she killed Rain. And 4, she was evil to Alone. You have all these great connections to her. It would have been perfect. Instead, it becomes kill Ultimecia because time compression, because she's gonna kill everyone. That's it. It would have been so much better. You would have had all these emotional connections to Adele. And it would have been built up over the course of the game instead of right at the end. And I like this idea of her, like, absorbing the power of the moon. But see, that's my problem. That, like, That's my problem, Fafnir, is that this game was rushed, but like my idea would have been easier and faster. That's the thing. Usually when I come up with these ideas on how to change RPGs, it's the easier version. Like they went too complicated. They could have done this and it would have been easier, and then they could have spent more time with the junction system or the graphics or whatever. Like they could have had more time to do other things because the story would have been so much simpler. Like they overcomplicated it and they rushed it. If they hadn't overcomplicated it so much, it would have been so much easier and better. So you were briefed about the mission? I don't really understand it either. Then why are we here? Alright. If your main characters don't understand the mission, how are we supposed to? Let's go. We'll get aboard Ragnarok. Let's do the final briefing in there. I always wanted to ride that thing, plus the name sounds so cool. Great.